Hello everyone. Nationalism is a very ideal feeling, and it is a feeling which spreads feeling of love towards the country, a feeling that forces persons or people to do something for their nation and to do any sacrifice for the sake of their nation. Nationalism, and we all know that the first significant event of nationalist thoughts, nationalist ideas, it took place in France in the form of French Revolution, and it was the first expression of Republican Revolution. So it was a very ideal feeling in the 19th century, but only up to the last quarter of the 19th century. You must recall that after the French Revolution, French revolutionaries further declared that they have become nation states, and now further, if any European country wanted to become nation state, or if any European country wanted to get rid of their autocratic monarchs, they were there to help them. Openly in Europe, French revolutionaries, they declared that if any country want the guidelines, that they want to become nation state, so we are there to help you. So this was a very ideal feeling, but up to the last quarter of the 19th century, means after 75 years of the 19th century, in the last 25 years, this feeling of nationalism was converted into extreme nationalism. My country, good or bad, extreme nationalism, which means a feeling of selfishness. And nationalist feelings or nationalism was associated with a narrow creed with limited ends. A narrow creed. Only those countries who become nation states, they are nationalists, and they will not allow the revolutions in the other countries, and they will not allow the other countries to emerge as nation states. So this feeling in the last quarter of the 19th century was converted into extreme nationalism, and it was associated with narrow creed with limited ends. Narrow creed, limited ends, selfishness, selfish motives. And this was the period when countries were ever ready to go to war against each other. And this feeling about which I am telling you, extreme nationalism, can rightly be called imperialism. Imperialistic rivalries, imperialistic conflicts, which means that some of the European countries had the best of the colonies in Asia, Africa and Latin America, and some of the countries like Germany, Italy, who emerged nation state later, they had no colonies. And you know, students, that in Germany there were statements by the German ruler, we must have a place in the sun, or redivide the world, means that all the colonies should be redivided. So such type of feelings, such type of sentiments, they began to spread in different parts of the European continent. It led to a series of wars, because imperialistic feeling was not good, because each country wanted to show its power, its worth. I must tell you that when Germany became unified, when Germany emerged as a unified country, a nation state in 1871, they began large scale militarization, and they began to produce submarines, they began to produce warly weapons. And watching Germany, other countries suspected Germany. Obviously, when Germany was preparing so many weapons, they were preparing about the naval and their military superiority. The other European countries, you know, they suspected Germany, and all the countries began to make warly weapons, saying that we are not preparing for a war. So a European writer rightly commented that after all, bombs are manufactured not to shoot pigeons on holidays. So this was rightly called by a writer. So there was a war. These rivalries, imperialistic rivalries, or you can call it extreme nationalism, feeling of competition, and competition also not healthy competition, in another way, in negative way. This led to a series of wars, and finally First World War. And the example of imperialistic rivalry, we will in detail, we will do it in the Balkan issue in the next topic today. So this is your 3 marks topic, nationalism and imperialism. Nationalism, which was a very ideal feeling up to the last quarter of the 19th century, was converted into extreme nationalism, that is called imperialism. And countries were ever ready to go to war. Nobody was afraid of war because each country was backed by someone else. So nobody was afraid of wars. So this was revealed in the Balkan issue. Balkan problem, it is of 5 marks topic. You are asked that what do you mean by Balkans, and why Balkan region became a source of tension in Europe in the 19th century. Actually, Balkan is a peninsular region of Europe comprising modern day Serbia, Romania, Bulgaria, Greece, Montenegro, Herzegovina, Bosnia, Croatia, Slovenia, etc., etc. It is comprised of modern day all these states. And in the medieval period, in the 15th and 16th century, as we have read earlier, Ottoman Empire was very powerful and they had inhabited these states of the Balkan region. They were under them. But in the modern period, there was disintegration of the Ottomans. There was disintegration of the Ottoman Empire. So two things brought nationalism in the Balkans when they declared themselves as Slavs and they declared their region as Slavic region. Correct? Two things brought nationalism in the Balkans. The first one was Romanticism, which means that they came to know about their culture and their long lost independence. Romanticism brought nationalism in Balkans. And second, disintegration of the Ottomans, disintegration of the Ottoman Empire. So these two factors, this is your 1 mark question, these two factors brought nationalism in Balkans. Actually, the Balkan states, they had a hope that as in the Greek War of Independence, major European powers supported Greece and Greece was declared as an independent country in 1832 in the Treaty of Constantinople. They were hoping that the same will be with them. But just now we did that by now nationalism was converted into extreme nationalism. However, Ottoman rulers, they began to introduce certain reforms so as to convince people that they must belong to Ottomans and they must retain over there only, but with no effect or very little effect. Reforms could not satisfy the Balkan people, the people of the Slavic region, rightly called. So one by one, Balkan states, they declared their independence. I told you, hoping that they would be supported by the major European powers. So one by one, they declared their independence, and European countries, what they were doing, they were just watching the scene. It was a scene of big power rivalry. So they, one by one, they separated themselves from the Ottomans, declared their independence, and they highlighted that now they want their long lost independence, and they also, in order to gain the sympathy of the European countries, they also claimed that they had been once independent and subsequently they were subjugated by the Ottomans. Jealousies and rivalries were created between the Balkan state. Each Balkan state was ready to attack on the other to gather more power, to gather more strength, to gather more territory. And European countries were just gazing the scene. And they were also hoping that let them fight, and when they fight, when there is jealousies and rivalry between them, they will fight, they will become weak, and the time will come that the big European powers, Russia, Britain, France, they would capture the Balkans, their own peninsular regions, that when they will become weak, they will capture them. However, these Balkan states, they were not supported by the European countries, and there was anti-Austrian propaganda in Serbia. Serbian government raised a propaganda that the Slavs who left Serbia for so many years back, they left Serbia, went to Austria, they should come back to Austria. It was a useless propaganda. When the Austrian government sent their prince and his wife to Serbia to watch the anti-Austrian propaganda and see over there what propaganda is there, when the Prince Archduke Francis Ferdinand of Austria and his wife went to Serbia. They both were coming out of a museum in Serbia. They were shot dead by a 19-year-old Serbian student, Gavrilo Princip. And when the Austrian government sent an ultimatum to Serbia to either hand over or punish the suspected murderer, Gavrilo Princip, they didn't reply the letter. And there was outbreak of the First World War, 1914. Austria was supported by Italy. Austria and Hungary, they were together at this time. After the First World War, they were split. So Austria-Hungary, they were supported by Italy and Germany. And Serbia was supported by Russia, France and Britain, and there was a world war. So Balkan region became a source of tension in Europe in the 19th century. This is our answer, because it led to disaster in Europe, that is First World War. Simultaneously, our last topic of this chapter, 3 marks topic, anti-imperial struggles were going on in Asia and Africa, like in India, like in Indochina, like in other parts of the world, in Asia, Africa, Latin America. Anti-imperial struggles means that they were driven by the spirit of ideal nationalism. Each Asian and African country, they were the colonies of the European countries. They were not only struggling hard for their own independence, but they were also supporting the independence of the other colonies. For example, India League, League Against Imperialism, these organizations were set up not only to free India, not only to free one or two countries, but all the colonies at once. So anti-imperial struggles were very ideal. Nowhere European extreme nationalism was replicated. Everywhere it was ideal nationalism. Although there were different rulers in different colonies, although the mode of struggles were different in all the countries, like in India we have so many different modes of struggle, but their aim was one. The aim of the Asians and African and Latin American, who were the colonies, their aim was one, that was to get rid of the colonial rule, to get rid of the European colonial powers, and to achieve their independence. So anti-imperial struggles went on. And finally, after the Second World War, first of all, India gained its independence in 1947, 15th August, and after that there was line of independence. Sri Lanka, Indochina, they all became independent gradually. So this was your first chapter of history. Prepare your notes and go through the chapter very carefully. We will meet again with some new things for you. Till then, it's a goodbye.